Tonight, rate rise confirmed for Port Augusta, what ratepayers have to say as the budget is approved. And a jobs boost for the Mid-North thanks to a major grain grower.
This is Southern Cross News with Tim Hatfield.
Good evening, but first tonight, Whyalla businesses and residents have reacted with a sense of relief to Liberty House's purchase of the Whyalla Steelworks. But the goodwill in Adelaide has evaporated quickly, with a spat breaking out between the government and the opposition over whether the Premier could visit Whyalla.
After 15 months of worry, workers can finally rest easy, knowing their jobs have been secured after GFG Alliance purchased the Whyalla Steelworks.
Knowing that everybody's going to maintain their jobs and employment is a good thing, it's great.
It's been pretty hard, but just take the good with the bad. So yeah, it's good.
But the toll has been immense, pushing many workers and their families to breaking point.
I did say to Kerry Ann that is like, when do you want to just bite the bullet? Should I go somewhere else?
It's also taken a toll on the children of Whyalla, who have seen the anxiety in their parents' faces. School Principal Damien Judge says he hopes a return to normality will improve the mood of the town.
There's just been more positive talk in the staff room and people sharing things about just some security that hopefully finally will come our way.
But many Whyalla residents still believe diversification is key to the city's future. Hotelier Barbara Derham is full this weekend, with 200 divers to swim with a famous cuttlefish. She says we shouldn't stop our progress in developing the local tourism and defence sectors.
I mean, it means that we can perhaps employ more people, and those people then can earn more money.
It comes as Jay Weatherall and Tom Koutsantonis came face to face with management from GFG this afternoon at Parliament House. The Premier says he wants the deal signed, sealed and delivered by next month.
Detailed discussion in partnership with the Commonwealth Government. We hope that those negotiations will be concluded and this matter entirely settled before the end of August.
Bipartisanship support for the issue, however, appears to have been brief. Premier Jay Weatherall was scheduled to visit the Whyalla Steelworks this morning, but cancelled after he was refused a parliamentary pair. Mr Weatherall attacked the opposition, claiming they're playing negative politics on the issue. However, Mr Marshall fired back, saying it's a parliamentary sitting week and the Premier should be doing his job. John Hunt, Southern Cross News.
The Port Augusta City Council has now adopted its 2017-18 budget, while the local Ratepayers Association says this time it's happy with a 3% rate rise. Some have joined other associations in the region in a push for more council transparency.
After months of consultation, the Port Augusta City Council has adopted its budget with a 3% rate rise and a better relationship with the Ratepayers Association.
But we've identified we have a plan, and that plan is about efficiencies and accountability, and also service review and efficiencies in what we do in our business. So we'll be looking to, again, reduce our operating deficit.
Ratepayers Association members from Port Augusta joined other residents from regional councils at a meeting in Moonta on the weekend. They formed an online group called Council Watch SA.
Trying to implement some change at the local level, empowering the communities to understand what they can and can't do and how to do it, what works, what doesn't work, and then collectively coming together again to seek some legislative reform in local government.
Mayor Johnson says he encourages the Port Augusta community to get involved with the budget process.
Certainly in my position, and I know us as a council have been able to use them as a sounding board at times, and they obviously have a very, very consistent view on what they're looking to do, and it's changes in rates and lease rate.
Those from the Ratepayers Association have told Southern Cross News that despite the 3% increase capped at 6%, they're happy with the outcome. They say they'll be working closely with Council over the next budget. Amelia Simpson, Southern Cross News.
Viterra has added 100 new jobs across regional South Australia, promising workplace stability for employees. And 35 of those jobs have been offered across the Mid-North and Yorke Peninsula region.
The agricultural handling company is offering permanent jobs in grain-growing regions around the state. Jobs have been added in ports and processing centres across the Mid-North, in Port Pirie, Crystalbrook, Gladstone, Snowtown and Saddleworth.
We've got 35 across what we call the central region, so that takes into account Port Pirie, where there are 3 roles, 2 up in the Gladstone group, 4 out at Snowtown, 7 down on Yorke Peninsula, and the remainder stretching down across sites that reach out towards Roseworthy.
The grains industry is a strong contributor to the regional economy in South Australia, and more jobs were added to the Viterra network to boost supply.
Managing those grain receivables, operating our sites efficiently and effectively to make sure that we meet the needs of our grain grower customers in regional South Australia.
The remainder of the jobs were offered at ports across Adelaide and the eastern and western regions of the state. And for the most part, casual harvest workers were promoted to the permanent new role.
Being able to offer 100 new permanent jobs is a testament to the strength of agriculture in South Australia.
Rachel Nell, Southern Cross News.
Two separate libraries in Broken Hill have been at the centre of a mix-up in the New South Wales state budget. It was first thought the city's book library would be receiving almost $1 million in funding when the budget was delivered 2 weeks ago, but when the announcement was made, confusion followed.
From one library to another.
It seems that Broken Hill didn't receive the library funding after all.
Last month it was announced that $900,000 had been allocated for an upgrade to the Broken Hill Library. Many thought it was for the city's book library on Glen Street, but they were wrong.
The state government has actually allocated the Drill Corps Library, the $900,000, not the Broken Hill City Council Library.
The EC Andrews Drill Corps facility is situated in the city's industrial district at Pinnacles Place. It was built by the State Department of Industry to give mining industry access to core samples for exploration purposes. The city's mayor says she thought something was wrong when the budget was first delivered.
This is probably one of those debacles that we're all shocked about, but at the beginning I kept saying we didn't apply for this funding. So we're not surprised that it's turned out like it has. We kept being told by the state and that no, we had the funding. So I'm glad we didn't spend it. I'm glad that we were looking for more answers, as a good council should.
It's bad news for the city's book library, though. $900,000 is now down to zero.
I'm hoping that there will be some consideration for the small fund that we actually applied for, but we're hoping that we're on the table for the resources for region funding.
Patrick Reinke, Southern Cross News.
Well, stay with us. Still to come in tonight's local news, the global soccer squad set to make some on-field connections in the Silver City. The details ahead. Welcome back. The YWCA has been granted $100,000 by the state government. The grant will allow workshops to be conducted across regional South Australia, including on the Eyre Peninsula, to educate women and men about positive intervention strategies.
At least one Australian woman is killed by her partner or former partner every week, and 1 in 3 Australian women has already experienced physical violence. Domestic violence poses a significant social and cultural problem. However, new workshops across the region aims to shift the spotlight to those committing the act.
Shifting the responsibility from a victim or potential victim and refocusing it on the responsibility of the perpetrator. So what we want to talk about is positive community responses to these attitudes and behaviours.
The fight to eradicating domestic violence received a boost this week, the state government pitching in $100,000 for WYCA workshops in regional towns.
Many times we're kind of still seeing what is often the woman to be blamed for these situations. So what we'll see is some bystander intervention workshops. There's going to be at least 15 workshops under this funded program.
The recent funding falls on the back of $1 million strategy for crime prevention against women. The workshop's just a small step towards a bigger conversation.
Show how we can change our behaviours to fit into this wider discussion about equality between men and women and about fighting against domestic and family violence.
The WYCA will continue to educate and support men and women affected by domestic violence and change the cultural divide.
We have got some wider cultural conversations about equality between the sexes and behaviours that emphasise some of the behaviours that we've supported in the past.
Jason Kemp, Southern Cross News.
Port Pirie is aspiring to become the leading regional city in South Australia by improving services and facilities in town. And the updated version of the growth plan outlines more business investment and employment opportunities.
The plan is driving the future of Port Pirie, improving the perception of the town and its economic opportunities.
Hoping to achieve more business investment in the community, more job opportunities, and make it a thriving place that we know Port Pirie is.
And councillors looking at using the security of Near Star to its advantage to attract other businesses to the city.
We've got a number of opportunities we're looking at, both in the agricultural area, in mining manufacturing, as well as increasing the use of our port.
And the updated growth plan outlines a 10-year strategy of how Port Pirie is set to become the leading region in South Australia.
Where we want to go in the future, how we're going to achieve that, and really to boost the opportunities for not only ourselves but for our kids and our grandkids.
With the community flourishing from recent infrastructure improvements, it's hoped the perception of Port Pirie will improve through the Come See Change campaign.
That will actually look at boosting Port Pirie and leveraging the strengths we're already seeing.
Rachel Nell, Southern Cross News.
Broken Hill's junior soccer stars will have the chance to be coached by staff from a Scottish Premier League team this weekend. Coaches from the Celtic Football Club International Soccer Academy are touring Australia during the winter and will be stopping up in the mining town to run some clinics.
From the Scottish Premier League to the Silver City.
We've got two coaches coming out from the Celtic FC Academy from Scotland.
Two of the Academy's coaches will be in town for the weekend, running sessions across both days. The sessions are open to players from all age groups and skill levels.
It's open to all juniors, not just players playing with clubs, but if we've got any AFL guys that want to come down and enhance their skills there a bit as well, they can do that. It's any kids in Broken Hill, basically, mate.
David says it's a very special opportunity for boys and girls from ages 5 to 20, and the sessions are very affordable.
It doesn't matter whether you're an elite player or a participation player. Get down, you'll hone your skills, you'll improve your game. It'll be a fantastic opportunity and kids should really get on board.
There are 3 sessions for both days. The mini ruse for youngsters from 5 to 7 runs from 9 to 10. The girls' session for 12 to 18-year-olds goes from 9 to 10:30, and the youth and cults for years 8 to 20 starts at 11 and finishes at 3.
We're encouraging people to register and register first, and probably the best thing you could do is go to the Broken Hill Soccer 2017 Facebook site.
Patrick Roinke, Southern Cross News.
Well, stay with us when we return after the break. A funding boost to help Port Lincoln's Salt Festival grow and expand next year and beyond. The details ahead. Welcome back. Port Lincoln's Salt Festival has received a major boost for next year, with the local council allocating funding to make the event even bigger. Over 6,000 people participated in 100 events over 10 days. Organisers already planning next year's festival.
2017 was a groundbreaking year for Port Lincoln's first Salt Festival. Thousands across the EP attended events over the 2-week celebration. The council recognising the festival's potential, granting it $10,000 to make next year even better.
The grant that we've got this year means that we can continue to promote the city, promote the festival and the region, and also build on that success and leverage other funds into the region.
This year's international art exhibition by Jeff Bridges turned some heads, but the festival has their eyes towards the skies for next year's feature attraction.
We would love to have the sky whale floating over the sea this year. That's a goal. It's probably a $10,000 event, and we wouldn't be using council funds for that. That would be about leveraging additional state government, federal government or corporate sponsorship and support.
One of the feature displays included the Wellness TP, connecting locals through community events.
Many people watched 2017 and thought, I wanted to go to that. So now with more notice we'll be able to say, let's plan this.
The team now asking for locals to have their input as they look to put the Eyre Peninsula on the global stage.
That's our 2017. It's been a wonderful journey. Let's get ready for 2018.
It's about showcasing within our community as well as showcasing to the world.
Jason Kemp, Southern Cross News.
A Port Augusta school held an education fair today, displaying students' work from the past term. Parents and families came to the event at Carlton School and even had the chance to have their parent-teacher interviews outside.
Drawing, making sock puppets and displaying their art has been all in a day's work for kids at Carlton School's education fair ahead of the mid-year break. The Port Augusta School holding their parent-teacher reviews outside.
It is basically a parent-teacher interview as well. I think it's just a interesting way to do it, and we get more families coming in.
We've got such a tight 2-storey building, so to make the community come into the school and the school go out to the community, we try to make the outside part of our celebration.
The school has even developed a wall with footprints from kids and families.
And the wall that we have our teachers' desks in is being developed by the community as a community art event.
And students showed their flair for art.
Yeah, well, I like to do some reading a little bit and some drawing.
While the bouncy castle proved to be the highlight of the day, the students' favourite subject for the term has a clear winner.
I like doing maths and literacy. Maths. Because you can learn more when you do maths. Like you can do your times tables, like if people don't know much.
Amelia Simpson, Southern Cross News.
Well, time now to see what's biting out on the Gulf waters. Here's this week's Fish and Tips.
Welcome another week around the Gulf Fishing Tips. I'll tell you what you got to complain about is this cold, but with the cold comes some good things. Squid are around the place in plentiful numbers. Now, snapper, we've been talking about them for a little bit, but if you go around the pipe wrecks, the local council wrecks, just have a little bit of a look. There is a good feed to be had, not big in size. King George whiting, my tip is if you go to Eastern Shoal or around the Horseshoe, you should be able to find a better feed than what we've got.
G'day, and welcome to this week's Fishing Tips from Port Augusta, Jewel of the North. Well, that wind's picked up a little bit, so the tip there is going a little bit shallow out in those middle banks and try for some King George whiting on the higher tides, and also along the shacks on the beaches for silver whiting in the mornings. Now, as I said last week, normally the whales are up this time of year, and bang on the money, there was one up here last week, down around the 16k mark, so just keep an eye out for that, but also keep that exclusion zone as well.
Hi guys, Whaler Fishing Report this week. Hasn't been a lot to report due to the bad weather and slow tides, but this week is looking a lot better. There was a couple of lucky boats that got out. Few fish came from the Marix Tie Reef. They were a nice sized snapper and off of the Leeton tug, around the 8 to 10 kilogram mark. Off the Leeton tug, it's been the last hour of the tide, and for the Marix Tie Reef, the snapper have been biting just after sunrise. For the land-based options, there's still, again, a few silver whiting on the foreshore, and down towards Point Lowly, there's still some nice schools of salmon hanging around.
G'day and welcome to Fishing Tips in Port Lincoln. Locally, the whiting have been a little bit patchy in the bay. The squid have been going pretty good lately, and there's still a few flathead around the shallow margins of the bay, and also out around the National Park around Port Lincoln. There's also a few big tommies and a few salmon trout and medium-sized salmon for those chasing the flathead around the beaches in the National Park at the moment. Moving over to Coffin Bay, whiting have been running really well out at Farm Beach lately, and there are some whiting and a few salmon trout in the main bay system as well. Up at Tumby Bay, whiting is still going pretty strong out at the group. There's some good-sized whiting out there and also some good-sized squid. A few bag limits of whiting have also come from in the bay at Tumby as well. That's it for this week. We'll see you again with more fishing tips next week.
Well, stay with us after the break, the Friday forecast and your weekend weather. The weather now, still some patchy showers around today with 18 the top in Port Augusta and 17 for Whyalla. 17 also today in Port Pirie. Wet and windy in Port Lincoln, a top of 18 degrees and a sunny 17 degrees in Broken Hill. On the national satellite image, a cloud band moving in from the Bight is set to deliver some parts more rain right across the weekend. Out on the Gulf waters, the winds to 25 knots and mainly to the west. The seas to 3 metres and southerly. Sunrise at 25 past 7. So looking at how tomorrow is shaping up, 17 expected for Port Augusta and in Whyalla as well. Port Lincoln with Port Pirie with some lingering showers and 16. Port Lincoln on 18 and a fine 17 again for Broken Hill. They're looking into the weekend. Showers still for Port Lincoln, 16 then 17. Cleve on 15 both days, 16 for Woodner. Whyalla with showers and 17 on Saturday, then a fine 16 for Sunday. 17 both days and fine for Port Augusta. Kadina wet and 16 and then 15 after that. In Port Pirie, 16 the top both days as the showers clear off. Similar but cooler in Clare, 13 degrees all weekend. Broken Hill fine and sunny with 16 on both Saturday and on Sunday. And that is the local news for this Thursday. Don't forget you can stay up to date on Facebook and on Twitter. You can also drop us an email. We'll see you back here tomorrow night from 6:30. I'm Tim Hatfield from the Southern Cross News team. Enjoy your evening. Good night.